So what do you do when the woman you thought was your soulmate slowly isolates you from your family, your friends, or even your own sense of self? When what started as an intense love turns into emotional manipulation, and you can't tell if you're the problem or you're the one being controlled. Well, that's what we're going to unpack today. I'm here with my wife, Maria.
Hi.
And we're going to be talking about toxic relationships. And this isn't some surface level list of bad girlfriend traits. This is a hard look at how smart, high functioning guys end up in toxic relationships with women who isolate, control, and drain them, and how to break free without breaking yourself in the process. In the first half, we're going to walk through the 10 psychological red flags that show you're in a relationship with a woman who's more focused on controlling you than loving you. And in the second half, we'll share the real psychologically sound exit plan, especially if you've burned bridges with your family, lost touch with your friends, and feel like she's your whole world. If any part of this hits home, stay with us. There's a way out. We're going to show you how. You're listening to the Inner Confidence Podcast. My name is Robbie Kramer. I've been a coach since 2007, and I've helped countless men rapidly achieve all of their social and dating goals. My mission is simple: to help you position yourself to meet stunning women, make awesome friends, en route to becoming the most confident and attractive version you can possibly be. I'm absolutely obsessed with giving you the most leveraged ways possible to win the game, so stick around, let's go. So let's go through those list of red flags, and maybe we'll take turns going through each. I'll do the first one. No,
You're gonna go through all of them now.
See, controlling. All right. So the first one is sudden conflict with your family. So maybe you used to get along with your family, but now it feels like they don't understand you or they're judging your relationship. But this shift didn't really come from you, did it? It's often seeded by your partner, subtly undermining those connections behind the scenes.
First, from your perspective, have you ever experienced anything like that with any of your girlfriends?
Yes, with one of them, I did. She would kind of start poking at my family members, not to them, obviously, but to me, saying like, this person's so annoying, your sister, your brother, like everyone. She had something negative to say about pretty much everybody. And of course, you can always find the negativity about people, but it's weird. Like, I never said that stuff about her family just because you don't want to cross that boundary. You know, it's not my place to be judging her family. I mean, maybe if I'm like married to her and I have a relationship with them like way down the road, then it would become more normal. But this happened like very early on in the relationship, and I just found it to be quite weird.
So what happened to the relationships?
I dumped her.
Typical Robbie Kramer. But did your family at the time notice that something was wrong?
Oh, they didn't like her at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
They didn't like her vibe. You know, they just kind of got a bad feeling about her.
But do you trust your family with that sort of a feeling?
I do, because I feel like my family is very socially adjusted. They have very good people skills, social skills. I know they have my best interest, of course.
No, yeah. That's nice.
Well,
because
at first, I like they weren't very vocal about it, but I could just tell that they weren't like huge fans, right? Because they weren't saying, you can like, notice that. Yeah, this girl is so great, or we like her for you. You know, they're very much not interested in anything having to do with her.
Okay, yeah.
But they weren't straight up mean or rude, and they never told me that they didn't like her until after I broke up with her.
Yeah, I just noticed a lot that a lot of people, they actually do not listen to their family about such a topics, which I found weird, because that's your family and they have your best interest. So it's the only people you actually need to really listen. And if they don't really like your boyfriend or girlfriend, it should tell you a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's tough for guys in their, 20s and 30s because they kind of feel like maybe their family doesn't really understand them or doesn't really know, and as a teenager, as like a boy in 18, your family is kind of like the last person you think they're like out of touch or whatever.
But it's more for, I agree. That's more for boys than for girls. I agree with you, because I never felt this way.
Right. All right. Well, that's red flag number one. The next red flag is that you've become socially isolated. You rarely see your friends anymore, and you don't feel excited or safe introducing her to them. Either she shows zero interest in meeting them, or worse, she actively sows tension or talks trash about them. Have you ever had a boyfriend who did that with you?
No, I was lucky that I didn't have that problem. But as a woman, I would say that if my boyfriend would not introduce me to his friends when we like became official boyfriend and girlfriend, it would be immediately no for me. Like I would be questioning why you're not showing me to your friends. Is there is a problem? There is something wrong about me, or there is something wrong about our relationship. So that would be for me no. And like I know several, even some of my friends that had that issue, and they, I'm not the one to judge, but it happens a lot.
Well, that's one of the best ways to tell if the person you're dating is somebody worth dating. It's show me your friends, I'll show you your future. I think that's one of the most powerful quotes I've ever heard, because you are a collection of the 5 people you hang out with the most, and you will become exactly like your friends. It's just, that's how osmosis works. No matter what, who you hang out with has a major impact on who you are. So if you're with a girl who's isolating you from your friends and just saying like, be with me, let's do everything together, blah, blah, blah. Like she's doing that for a reason. And it's almost always a manipulation and a control strategy. She's not trying to make you a better guy. She's trying to remove all of those bonds that you have and have full control over you. And I feel like women who do this, they don't necessarily do this consciously. I think most of the time it's more of an unconscious behavior because they have these sort of issues. And they're not comfortable with the guy's friends. They know that the friends will probably not like them. And
exactly. And because they know that the friends will have a big, not power, how to say, influence over their friend. Because, for me, that would be like, no, like immediately I would be like, show me to your friends, like introduce me to your friends. Right. And of course, they're going to give their opinions about me. Oh, we like her, or, oh, we don't. She's a bitch. Dump her, but that's still, that's still really important for me.
All right. Well, the next one, red flag number 3, is she violates your privacy. Maybe she's going through your phone, checking your social media, asking invasive questions about your past. This isn't love, it's control, insecurity, and obsession that's wrapped in a nice little bow of fake concern. So remember, love doesn't come with surveillance. So what do you think is a healthy amount of, surveillance? I guess nothing if you call it surveillance.
Yeah.
But what's a healthy amount of, checking on your partner and all that sort of thing? Because this can be a tricky one.
I actually had this happen to me in my very first relationship, and it was horrible. So like initially we dated for 2 years, and I have broken up with him, and I started noticing it after a year, because we were living in the same town, in my hometown. And after I moved to the capital to study, to Kiev, and we were having like long distance relationships. And then it really kicked in when I noticed that, because like I would go to my to university, I would come back, and as soon as I'm back, we're like on the phone the entire time. Like I want to go to the grocery store. He is like, oh, I'm going to call you. Let's talk on the way there. I'm like, okay, I miss you. That's fun. But like when it started going day after day, and after I'm like, oh, I'm going to go with my friend from my dorm to like, just go somewhere, walk. And he's like, send me the picture, send me that. And I'm like, whoa, that's super bad. And as soon as I'm like, just try to set my boundaries and say, look, I actually I'm so tired after the whole day in university. I just want have my music in my headphones and just want to go walk, in the city and just listen to my music. And he's like, are you going with someone? This is so weird. Like, send me a picture. Yeah. So that's
a lot.
And because we've been together for already over a year, it was like something new to me. I immediately felt that it was wrong and I needed to break up those relationships. But a lot of people, they have different circumstances, so they don't really know that that's so bad, and they don't really break them up till it's, they're like...
Sure. Well, I think what's interesting is some people might look at what we do in terms of each other's phones, location settings, and think there's an issue there. And I think we have a very healthy level of that, and to explain what that is I have full access to your phone. You have full access to my phone. I'm confident that you would never just go through my phone.
I've actually never went through your phone.
Exactly.
Unless you ask me to.
Right. Yeah. And I've never gone through your phone. And I could. Why would I dig there? Like, even, and then the other thing is we both have each other's location settings.
Yeah.
Or live location all the time. Which I think is, well, we're obviously married, so that's different. I had a buddy of mine.
I'm looking if he's in the clubhouse or still on the 17th hole.
Well, it's very convenient to know where she is. Like, if I need to go meet up with her, I can just find her on the, find my iPhone app. But I'm never surveilling her, and she's never surveilling me. Like, if she wanted to go in my phone and find a bunch of shit to be pissed about, you can find old pictures and crap like that, But, like, I'm confident that you wouldn't do that because you're secure. And you're confident that I wouldn't do that in your phone either. So it's convenient for us to have access to each other's devices.
But also if something happened to you, I'm so paranoid about even Ubering, like if it's like maybe not safe driver, like I really want him to have my location at all times so he can know if something happened to me, where is my phone? That's really important for me.
I have a close friend who... this is a terrible tragedy. His wife was drugged and killed, and it's because he had the location of her phone that they were able to figure out who did it.
Police would never find out unless that phone. So like, especially that case, that's also important for me. But I think like other people, if they want full privacy and don't share the location, I also respect that.
Especially if they're not married. We never did that until
till we
2
actually
or 3 years into the relationship when it made sense.
But I also had a bet with actually that was my first boyfriend. My second boyfriend, already upon our breakup, in the day when we were breaking up, he told me every time you went to sleep, I was reading your messages on your phone because I trusted him. He had access to my phone. I had access to his phone. I've never touched that in my life. Yeah. He was reading messages with like my friends and everything. I just couldn't believe that, Like, I never even like thought of that, but that happens.
Insecurity. Yeah. People who are insecure, they need to do that, and they need to go through, and they're going to take anything out of context. I remember my very first girlfriend ever. This was back when like nobody even had cell phones. In like
you're old.
I think it was 2000, the year exactly 2000. She went on vacation. I like went to pick something up from her dad's house, and she left her computer open. I went through her email.
Oh my God, you're horrible.
I was terrible. I found an email to another buddy saying that Robbie's a bad dancer. And like, I confronted her about it, and of course I didn't tell her that I went through her email, but the only way, she's like, I only told that to one guy, that was Ian. And like, you must have, like she kind of figured it out. Yeah. But I never admitted to it. So Tanya, if you're watching this, I'm sorry.
You were bad. That's horrible.
All it did was ruin my confidence with dancing, and it was terrible. Like, I wish I had never done that. So I didn't do it ever again since then. But it's also so stupid.
It's also can be out of the context. Maybe
she was only saying it to Ian because she felt bad for him, because she kind of like, I think he had a crush on her too, and she chose me over him.
Exactly. So you never know, what's happening in the conversation. Maybe their both were attending dance classes and they're like professional dancers or something. You never know. And like also this emoji. Like you send this like hugging emoji. I'm like, this is my not best friend. This is like my family friend that I grew up with since I was 5.
Send like a kiss or something, and someone gets all pissed.
Yeah, it just like you go through all of my other emojis. Like I send them all the time.
Yeah. So don't do that. If the girl you're dating is doing that, run for the hills. Get rid of her. Real quick, if you're a divorced guy trying to figure out modern dating, I put together something special for you. It's called the Social Funnel Method, and it's a 5-day free email course I made just for guys like you. Guys who want to date high-quality women and build a lifestyle that actually feels good again. You'll learn exactly what works today, not 10 years ago, and how to stand out in a world of dating apps, ghosting, and Instagram. Head over to innerconfidence.com/start to get step 1 sent straight to your inbox. It's totally free. Go do it now, and let's rebuild your dating life in the right way. All right, red flag number 4. Sex is weaponized, or it just feels a little bit off. Maybe you feel like you can't fully relax during intimacy. She might withhold sex, use it as leverage, or twist your boundaries somehow. If you're confused, if you're emasculated, or it just feels off, trust that. I don't think we need to really go into this a ton. I just think if it doesn't feel right, then that's a signal that you should probably find somebody where it does feel right. Because this is, in essence, if you decide to be monogamous, the person you're going to spend, a really long period of time with, hopefully. And if that part is off, that's the only part of the relationship that is different from your other relationships, right? Like you can be friends with your dog, you can be close with your family, but the only thing intimate about an intimate relationship is the sex part. So if that part's off, like find somebody where it's not off.
Exactly. Obviously, there can be, days when, you don't feel right and all those things, and you need to respect that. For sure. But as Robbie said, if someone withholds sex or, how do you call it?
They use it as a weapon. They use it to control.
No, that's immediate no.
So remember, sex should build closeness, not confusion. The next red flag, she has a broken relationship with her own family. A woman who talks about how toxic or crazy her whole family is and takes zero ownership usually hasn't done the work to break that cycle. Be careful, you might become the next emotional dumping ground.
Oh, I agree with that. But the thing that the big problem was that when someone has such a dysfunctional family, and there are a lot of people who came from dysfunctional families and they're beautiful people, you can work through. But, I was just watching, it's not barely the case of an adoption in Ukrainian family. They adopted a girl and they have their own kids. One of their own kids was doing something bad and the adopted girl said, let's tie him up. Like a normal thing. And when they worked through this little girl said that when she was behaving bad, she was tied up. Mm-hmm. So for her, that was a normal thing to propose. Let's tie him up. He's behaving bad. Yeah. Because in her brain, it's something normal. I behave bad. Yeah. I'm getting tied up. So like in families that are like toxic, there is a lot of things that those families are doing that now, the adults think it's normal and they're going to be doing it to you and they're going to make you do this to your own family because in their eyes, it's normal when it's not.
So if those people don't do the work and they figure out, how their family kind of screwed them up, then it's not your job to do that for her. Right? Better to find somebody who doesn't. Everyone has baggage. Everyone has trauma of some degree, right? You can lose a balloon as like a 2-year-old and have trauma from that. But it doesn't mean it's your job to fix her, right? So don't be Captain Save-A-Ho, White Knight, cuck, all those things.
No, if a person really seeks help, of course, you should try helping. But if the person does not want to be helped, you cannot help that person.
Exactly. So the next one is she doesn't have close female friends, or she doesn't have close female friends anymore. Either she never had real friendships to begin with, or she slowly dropped all of them as she zeroed in on you. This makes you her only emotional outlet, which becomes suffocating.
Oopsie, I don't have any friends.
It's not true. You have a lot of friends.
No, I'm joking. No, I moved from a different country. I have an excuse, but your sister...
when we met, we lived in Ukraine, and you had tons of friends.
Friend. No, yeah. Mike, I was like, ooh.
So, now you have a smaller circle of friends, but a very close circle of friends.
Exactly. So, no, I still have my friends, but, from Ukraine and stuff, but it's not like you can be really close with them.
Yeah. You've adopted a lot of my friends as your friends and vice versa. And I think that's healthy. And of course, in a relationship, you're going to no longer depend on your friends as much, right? When you're single, like your friends are your family. And then when you get in a relationship, it's a balancing act trying to manage the closeness with your friends without just being the guy or the girl who's like, oh, bye, I'm like in a relationship now, right? That's exactly. A red flag to begin with.
I also got very lucky because both of your sisters, they were very loving and accepting of me. So I had the best possible scenario, moving to the different country and having your sister just being so loving. So they are my friends.
And now you make some cool golf friends on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, I'm developing.
Yes,
I'm
you
developing.
All right. The next red flag is that she controls the direction of the relationship. And that's never a good sign. You're the masculine leader. You're the man. You should steer the ship. And if you feel like a passenger, well, then guess what, buddy? You are.
You are a passenger.
She dictates when you move in, when you commit, what your boundaries are, and what's normal. And if you resist, she threatens to leave or she guilt trips you. So this dynamic is never sustainable, and it often leads to her cheating or blowing up in the future.
But it's also, I wouldn't agree that only just cheating. I think sometimes when they're so focused on that person that they're their whole universe, they just want to make sure that
she's
it's not
definitely gonna
because
cheat.
look, my first boyfriend, that example I was giving, how he was controlling, his parents are actually, one of them was caught cheating. And they got divorced when my boyfriend at the time was a child. So that's why his controlling came up be so severe, because he was scared that I'm also cheating and we are also going to break up and he's going to re-experience that trauma, right? And obviously he needs to work with psychologists so he doesn't put that baggage basically on his new relationship, because there is no like bright future with that. But because he experienced that, that's what he is as an adult right now. So it's not always about that the girl will cheat. I think it's also...
No, I'm just saying that is unfortunately the outcome in a lot of these scenarios when you're dating a man who's behaving like a boy and who's not leading the relationship. Ultimately, you either leave him or you find somebody who is more manly.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I see that right now. Yeah, there is, yeah.
Yeah, bottom line, lead. If you let her lead, you're going to run into problems. And, women don't want to lead. They want to be passengers. So
even if they tell you they do, is actually not like there is no chance I want to lead.
Yeah. There's a great analogy.
No, thank you.
There's a great analogy in the book, The Value of Others by Orion Taraban. He has this whole captain passenger metaphor, and he does a really good job of explaining why it is in a man's best interest to be the captain and it's in a woman's best interest to be a passenger. And if those gender roles are screwed up, then you have lots of issues and drama.
That's a great book, actually, where I was listening with you in a car a lot to that book. So I actually recommend it to everybody.
So the next red flag is you're constantly feeling like you're walking on eggshells. You're always managing her mood. Maybe you censor yourself. You're careful not to trigger her. And over time, your sense of self erodes. If peace in the relationship depends entirely on your behavior, that's not a relationship, that's a dictatorship.
No, I agree with that. Obviously, there are times in the months when girls are oversensitive, and it's nice to have a man when you are in such a state to have help, obviously. But if it's constant day-to-day actual walking, then that's where it's the problem.
Yeah, you want to be able to be yourself pretty much 100% of the time around your partner. That's what makes for a close relationship, right? You want her to be herself. You want to be able to be yourself instead of trying to act and behave in a way that you think they like, right? And that's kind of how you know that you found somebody who's great for you, is you feel like you do get to be yourself the majority of the time. Of course, you can't be a complete and utter narcissistic jerk and not
Nobody
care
wants that,
about
yeah.
the other person. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to be myself all the time, which means I'm going to, not give a shit. That's not it either. But you certainly shouldn't feel like you have to be putting on a performance all the time to keep her around.
But that's the problem, I think. Actually, it's touching another issue. If you're getting in with someone with your performance, then they think it's who you are. Then you must put that performance on daily basis, and at one point you are so tired because that's not you. So it's really important, obviously, not be like yourself when you're just like a loser and you're lazy and you're not doing anything, but be yourself in a way that you don't need to be pretending in a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, if you use behavior to get her, then you're constantly going to be, a slave to having that perfect behavior. I've actually done that before. It was the most miserable relationship I was ever in. Well, it was basically just that. Like I was very good at learning, I learned all about game and seduction, and I knew what this girl wanted because we had kind of dated before that, and then we broke up, and I knew why we broke up, and there was like this big desire to like get her back, and I was able to like manipulate the situation and get her back, but I wasn't the type of guy that she wanted. Like she ended up like dating like a drug dealer, mafia type of guy. Like she needed a criminal, that's what she was attracted to. And she needed that sort of drama in her life. And I'm like, I could play a criminal on TV, and be the bad boy. I basically turned on all the bad boy dark triad traits. And I understood how to use those to my advantage. But then I was like, I don't want to be this guy. This isn't fun.
Yeah, it's not fun.
I'm not that type of guy, right? I'm kind of a goofball most of the time, right? Anyways, at least I saw that was happening, and I'm the one who walked away from that relationship, and glad I did, because it was a lot of performance. I felt like I had to be perfect all the time, and it just wasn't fun.
Yeah, a lot of you have a day of a month, you just want to, be upset about something. It's fine.
I don't have those days of the month, luckily, so I don't know. But
I just sometimes Robbie likes to complain about something.
Yeah, I guess I'm on my period sometimes.
And I like to be complain. Poor. He's a poor guy.
Poor guy.
He's upset.
So men can have periods too.
Yeah, but it's just how you approach it, It's like, it's fine that people can be upset. You can be burnt at your work. You can be, worried about paying the bills or something else. It's fine to be vulnerable.
So the next one is you've lost sight of your goals and identity. You're not chasing the things you used to care about. You're not going after what's best for your career. You're not indulging in your hobbies or self-development. You're too wrapped up in managing the relationship. So that's not love, that's codependency. Love should expand you, not consume you.
I agree with that. For some reason I got that example. Remember we were watching Why Women Kill? Don't judge Robbie. I pushed him to watch that, but he agreed.
Entertaining.
He liked it. Remember in the 60s, that couple, when the guy was cheating on her and she was just sitting at home basically, and she was a phenomenal pianist,
right?
And he told her to not play, and he basically not forbid her, but told her she's not good enough and she's never gonna make it, and she was regretting about this whole her life. And after she found out that he was actually cheating on her this entire time, so
he wanted to be the center of attention. He was a raging narcissist.
Exactly.
And he didn't like that she had her own life and hobbies and interests, and he wanted to make sure
but also she was getting attention from other people because she was such a talent that he didn't want any other man be a fan of her,
right?
So
insecurity. So
your partner should be proud of you if you have any hobby, and if you're good at anything, they obviously should support you, and if they don't, it's definitely a red flag.
So the next one is you feel guilty when you think about leaving her. Not sad, but guilty. Like she'll fall apart without you. Like you're abandoning her. That's not connection, that's trauma bonding. And if your instinct says run, but your guilt says stay, pay attention to your instinct.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's
hard.
It's hard to get out, but don't let guilt ruin the best years of your life or any minute of your life.
But I think it's easier to get out if you're 6 months into the relationship.
Yeah, the longer you stay in, the harder it is to break.
You still can have listen to your friends or to your family. You still very close with your social circle. But if you're 5, 6, 7 years into the relationship, you're obviously more bond with that person than with your family, because you're an adult. You're not anymore bond with your parents as when you were a child. So that person has the biggest bond with you. So it's a very complicated issue. It's easy to say, don't waste your young years, just leave. It's not that easy. But I think what's really important, it's if you're not as close to your family, and you're feeling this way, just try to like reconnect with your family.
Well, we're going to get into that now, actually, how to do that.
Okay.
So you bring up a very good point. It's not easy. So we're going to give you a step-by-step how to break free safely, including reconnecting with your family.
Oh, I love that.
So the first step is accept that the relationship is not fixable right now. You've probably rationalized or hoped things would improve, but deep down, you know this isn't sustainable. So let go of the fantasy version of her. She wants you to think, oh, if you just do everything I want, then I'll be perfect for you. It's like, that's...
Yeah, I think it's actually so spot on. The first step at just admitting to yourself that, you know, it's not the perfect relationship and you need to do something with that. Obviously, to do something with it, it's much harder. But I think as soon as you at least went by, like, accepting that mentally in your head, we can go to the next step.
Yeah. All right. The next step, stop seeking her validation. You may want to explain everything perfectly to her to avoid feeling like the bad guy. But in these dynamics, she'll never let you leave clean. She'll twist it no matter what. Remember, you don't need closure. You need peace. And the worst thing you can do, it's like try to reason with her or talk to her about it. You just got to go. You know?
Yeah, that breakup is never going to be clean. Okay, yeah, thank you for all the years. Let's just break up clean. Yeah, that you need to, I think, understand that breakup is going to be nasty no matter what. No matter how perfect you will want to do it, it's not going to
be ugly. So,
yeah.
Rip off the Band-Aid and reconnect with someone safe, even if it's been a while. Maybe you even burned a bridge with that person. But if it's your family or close friends, you know, they'll be willing to reconcile with you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually think if any of my friends, even from the past that were not really in touch, will reach out to me and say, hey, you know, how are you? I'm, you know, experiencing that and that, or sorry that we weren't in touch because of, you know, that and that, I would be like very happy to help.
You could even say, hey, I know I pulled away and I kind of regret how I handled things. I've been in a toxic situation and I'm trying to get out and I could really use some support right now. Right? And a real friend doesn't say, I told you so, I'm right. They would say, I'm glad to have you back.
Yeah, I agree with it. And especially, I think even better with the family member, it's going to be even more accepting because I think all the family members in those situations, they just really patiently wait. Right. And they this message will be the happiest thing that happened to them.
They're waiting for you.
Yeah, they're waiting for you.
So number 4, I think we kind of touched on this, but is plan a quiet, strategic exit. No drama, no big final argument. Don't wait for a fight, just a clean, calm action. If you live together, plan your logistics in advance, where you're going, how you'll communicate, all that stuff. I had to do this once in New York. I knew I was going to break up with this girl just because there was actually nothing wrong with her. It was me knowing that I wasn't ready for a relationship. So rather than have to move all my stuff out and have this difficult, you know, experience for her, I waited till she went to work. I moved all my stuff. And then I called her right before her shift was over. And I told her, you know, I'm sorry, can't do this anymore. Broke up with her, you know, she told me I was just a player with a nice smile, which was true. But at least I was able to get out and, you know, she came home to not having to deal with something messy.
Sometimes, in some cases, people say you need to do it face to face, but in some cases you actually don't. I agree with that. If you're just in a normal relationship, there is not a drama, but you're just, you understand that it's, not for you, don't see any future together. Yeah, you can sit and say, hey, blah, 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 and let's be friends. Or especially maybe if you have children together, you want to co-parent, that's totally fine. But there are some situations when it's better to be done with no.
I had a girl break up with me over email. And I think that's the best way I've ever been broken up with. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, I wanted her to break up with me, so that was nice. But it was just very easy. After that, I was like, yeah, why do you have to have this whole, show and do it in person? Just do it over email. It's just a boyfriend-girlfriend. It's not like you're married, right?
I had the breakup phase. Oh my God, it's so funny. Going to the very first boyfriend, I broke up with him over text in different city. Over the phone. Months passed, I went back to my city and my mom told me to talk to him face to face. We talked. He was promising that he's gonna change and it will never happen again.
Drag it out.
Yeah, and I knew it's not gonna change, and I said no. And afterwards, all the gossips that I was already having a new boyfriend and cheating on him. So it's like
You're just dragging it out.
Yeah, it's not gonna help you.
Just do it. Be done with it. Expect pushback. Stay no contact. She's going to cry. She might rage. She's going to promise to change. She might even act like your best friend or soulmate again for a few days. Remember, that's love bombing. Don't fall for it. That's how the cycle continues. And if needed, block her and mute mutual contacts temporarily. You really need no contact to heal. I've helped so many clients go through breakups and experiencing a ton of breakups myself. What I found is there's kind of like a math equation to it, right? However long you've been in the relationship, if you're the one getting dumped, it takes at least that long to get over it, right? If you're in the relationship for 6 months and she dumps you, you probably need 6 months to get over it. But in this situation, obviously, we're talking about leaving somebody who has all these red flags. So hopefully you get over it pretty quickly, right? You're probably in the act of getting over it by watching this podcast even. You've already kind of decided maybe they're not a great fit, or hopefully you're not like addicted to them at this point. Maybe you are, but remember, it's going to take a while. And every time you contact them or even look at their page or you trigger these memories, your brain is going to want you to like feel comfort and get back together. And it's going to slow the whole process of you healing and you detaching down very like a ton. So the best thing you can do for yourself is no contact. Don't look at her stuff, block her if you have to, get over it, and then you'll be able to move forward.
But also, I think with the time with no contact, do you have this phrase, you can remove pink glasses off of you?
Yeah.
Do you have that?
Yeah.
Because when you don't have contact, you see the world differently and you start to understand there's like, oh, that wasn't normal. Oh, that was a manipulation.
Rose-colored glasses.
Rose-colored glasses, yeah. But if you keep, talking to them even once a week, you're not gonna see that. You need like a while to be able to see the world, don't see the world through those glasses anymore.
Yeah. The last one, or maybe not the last one that's important, rebuild your support system. Even if it feels shameful, swallow your pride, start small, rebuild one relationship at a time, especially with family. Be honest, vulnerability rebuilds trust faster than perfection. You're going to be surprised how many people were just waiting for you to come back. We talked about this, shame isolates, truth reconnects. So the last one, reclaim your identity. Start doing the things you used to love again. Maybe lifting, for me it would be golfing, working on your goals, join new communities, invest in yourself. You've been managing someone else's emotions for so long that you've forgotten your own. Remember to forgive yourself for staying and for cutting others off. You were in survival mode. You made choices under pressure, and now you're choosing clarity. So own it. Don't hate on yourself for it, right?
Yeah, it happens to anybody. Yeah. So,
And they'll be there for you when you come back, right? As long as have some humility about it, right? Just own up to the fact that like, yeah, I shouldn't have, I didn't, I was in the midst of it, right? You're kind of, not that you're ever really a victim, but you're kind of a victim in this situation if you didn't see.
You are.
Yeah.
You actually are. It's a mental abuse. It's also, it's a type of abuse.
Yeah, it really is. So if you're listening to this and realizing like, damn, this is my life, you're not alone. Maybe you're still in it, trying to figure it out, how to leave without blowing everything up. Or maybe you've already left, but you're feeling lost, isolated, and unsure who you are without her. Well, that's why we built the Inner Confidence Community. It's a vetted group of guys, no BS, no judgment, who've been through this exact kind of thing and came out the other side stronger. We've got your back, whether you need to plan to leave, help rebuilding your confidence, or just a bunch of guys you can actually talk to about this stuff. That's what we're there for. You don't have to do this alone, and honestly, you shouldn't. So hit the link in the show notes, fill out the application, and if you're a good fit, you and I will hop on a call. We'll see how we can help. No pressure, just clarity, brotherhood, and your next chapter.
Yeah, I think that was a good episode, and seek help if you need to, especially to your close friends and your family. They're waiting.
Thanks, baby.
Thank you.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.
Out of all the guys I know, the only ones who managed to consistently win the game are those who built and invested in a high status social circle. You can certainly approach women and try your luck on the apps if you're a Chad, but those strategies simply don't work consistently to attract top tier women and awesome friends into your life. But for most guys, the idea of building a social circle can feel overwhelming, so they continue to hunt for women in their usual ways and end up settling for a girl they were never really that excited about in the first place. To avoid this fate, join our community and instantly plug into a highly vetted social circle of cool dudes to network and navigate your journey with. You already know it's hard to find wingmen because the good ones don't stay in the game very long. Many of our members travel together, end up living together, build amazing circles, and even businesses together, both in the West and in many of the best locations around the globe with gorgeous women and low cost of living. I'm extremely careful who I let into this community, but if you feel like you'd make a good fit, you can apply to join. The link's in the description.